Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the GCMA network. I'm Darren Wood, Partnerships Manager, and today I am delighted to introduce Richard Knight, the Managing Director of Nextrasoft, as our newest business partner to our fantastic network of business partners. So, Richard, welcome to the GCMA.
Thanks, Darren, and it's good to be on board. So thank you for your time.
Fantastic. Today, we're just going to give an introductory overview of Nextra, which is a software that you're helping golf clubs manage their workforce and their assets with. And as many of our members know, some of my background comes from golf technology, working at club systems and how to do for over 10 years. So I'm really interested to see how software can benefit our members in terms of managing their day-to-day challenges of their own golf clubs. So Richard, if you wouldn't mind just giving us a little overview of the business
Okay.
and the software and what benefits you can help golf clubs with.
Sure, absolutely. So Nextra's been around since 2000. We have a workforce management platform which is web-based. It runs right from HR all the way to a payroll export. The bit that where Nextra really is strong and where we're talking to a lot of golf courses is around 0 hours management,
Yeah.
whether that's paying staff who are on 0 hours, allowing courses to track people's availability. So courses maybe that are looking into events, commercial projects, and those sorts of things with weddings, conferences. We have a number of modules where people can submit their availability, and obviously we can take those pay rules. We can deal very easily with people on 0 hour contracts, but also staff that are on normal fixed contracts. Next is very, very strong with that in terms of timesheet management, time and attendance, understanding how 0 hour accruals work. So how much you've got to pay for your people in terms of holiday pay. It's all within the system. It does it all automatically. And as I said, it goes from HR, so looking after rights to works, contact details for all your staff. We can also include assets, and we can perhaps talk about that another day. Obviously, I
Yeah.
mentioned to you before about the greenkeepers equipment, mowers, and those
Yeah.
sorts of things. We're very, very strong with skills management. So where maybe we've got staff that need to go off and do health and safety certificates,
Yeah.
maybe spraying certificates, anything like that can all go into the system, and we can track everything from so day one all the way through to whatever the club needs. So it's a very holistic system,
Yeah.
and it's going to take us a while to kind of explain that to the membership. But it basically gives them freedom to run their whole course within one bespoke system, right through to obviously sending timesheets to the payroll team.
Yeah, that sounds like you're covering an awful lot of bases there across the management of a golf club. One of the things that we initially chatted about was the 0 hours
Yep.
aspect of managing the workforce. And I think that is something that crops up time and time again when golf club managers are asking for advice on how to deal with 0 hour contracted staff and what the
Yep.
legal obligations are and how to accrue holidays and things like that. So I think you're going to be able to offer some real insights into that and how the software can kind of take away the any dubious kind of methodology golf clubs might be using. I know some golf clubs is probably still using some spreadsheets or some of the different software. But what you've described to me is that Nextra can provide that 100% solution to
Absolutely.
managing all these things at a golf club rather than using a piece of software that does it to a certain extent, but doesn't finish off,
Yep.
managing the whole process.
Yeah. And
Uh,
a lot of it is honesty. Obviously, we
yeah,
speak to a lot of clubs at the moment who are still using honesty sheets for signing in and signing out. Obviously, they can get lost with the weather conditions you get out on golf courses. They can get destroyed. We
yeah,
obviously meet and speak to a lot of courses that you may be just using old-fashioned Excel spreadsheets, which I would suggest probably quite intensive for admin teams to fill in and fill out. You're double keying things, so we can obviously get rid of all of those systems and give them a one-stop solution that almost runs itself in terms of time and the way that it's going to save people time. And obviously these days, especially this year, time is really, really crucial to people and saving some money and optimizing people's workforces.
yeah. And I think that's something our members are always very conscious of is how can we be more efficient
Yeah,
with time and the resources they've got. And by resources, that could be the assets, the physical assets, but also the assets of the workforce that are working for the golf club.
yeah,
So the first thing that obviously springs to mind is hospitality, food and beverage, and making sure that they got the right people on shift, on duty, on rota, even down to I think we just briefly mentioned about putting skill sets down
yeah,
of what staff can do. So, as an example, if somebody's barista trained, you can add that onto
exactly.
their record to make sure that if you do have somebody on that requires a barista machine,
Yep.
being manned, then you have the right staff and the right skills, or being able to upskill staff, and you identify staff that might need extra training, etc.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a really good point. And it's also very good at monitoring those certificates that need to be renewed on an annual basis, like we talked about earlier, whether it's fire training, health and safety, spraying
Yeah,
certificates, chainsaws, whatever member of staff, because we can run right across a very, very broad spectrum of multi-skilled staff. We can handle for anything from somebody who works maybe in admin all the way, as I said, through to the guys in the greenkeepers, like you mentioned, food and beverage, whether it's
yeah,
using the espresso machine or whatever that might be. We can generate shifts based on people that they've got a supervisor role maybe, and they'll need a team underneath them. The system will
yeah,
do all of that. And then, as I said earlier, using some intelligent automation can build
yeah.
those rosters automatically. We've spoken to people where they maybe spend 2 or 3 days a week trying to plan out staffing schedules. We've replaced that within a couple of minutes once the information is into the system.
Yeah. That sounds really interesting. You actually we talk again we're talking about it just off air before we hit the record button about AI, but you flip that around and it's
Yes,
intelligent automation rather than artificial intelligence. And that's something we just held a webinar on actually about how AI can benefit golf
yeah,
and the future of golf industry and embracing that new technology. But it sounds like through using the system, it will intelligently learn your golf club's rotors, your golf club's routines, and obviously suggest or potentially suggest uh,
exactly that.
improvements and efficiencies that can be made.
Yeah, we do a lot with the hospitality market, and I suppose
Yeah,
where you've got courses that are doing things like weddings and conferences,
yeah,
we have a session planner, and you can basically say that you've got a wedding maybe of 75 guests. The courses or clubs will know that for 75 guests they need 4 front of house, 2 bars people. We can feed all that information into the system. It will then actively go away, look for the people that have got those skills, but
yeah,
also the availability. So that if you've got people that are, maybe away at university on holidays or those, they can put that into the system using our self-service app, and the system automatically knows they're then available, and we'll go and put them on the roster based against their skills. So it's really, really fast and easy, very intuitive. And as you like you said, it's not AI because we don't use algorithms. It actually uses
yeah,
real data that the courses put in themselves. So more often than not, if we can't fill a shift, there's a specific reason why, that you haven't got enough staff or we're
yeah.
overstaffed. So yeah,
That sounds really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing a little bit more about the software and the different areas of it. So what we're going to do in future recordings is just concentrate on a couple of different areas of what the software can do to give our members a flavour of how it can manage different areas of the golf club
okay,
itself.
that'd be
Um,
great.
but for today, if we can just give a quick look through, a quick breeze through of what the software looks like so our members can see and get a flavor for it. As with everything these days, it's 100% in the cloud,
Yep,
and you do have a mobile app for it as well, don't
yep.
you?
Yes, we do. Yeah. And that's more aimed at the guys that are the end users. So they can
Yeah,
see their holiday, they can see their shifts,
yeah,
they can swap shifts and do all those sorts of things that as an end user you would want to see. You can see your calendar, how many hours you've worked, when your next shift is, and do you want to book some holiday?
yeah. Sounds really good. If you wouldn't mind just sharing your screen, and we'll take a quick look through the software.
Yep, I'll do that now.
Okay, Richard, we're onto the login screen now of the software itself, Nextra. So if you just want to log yourself in and give our members a quick walkthrough and a quick visual look at what the software looks like from a user's perspective.
Yeah, so what I'll do, I'll log into the back end of the system, which is the admin section. So this is not the user front end
Okay.
web-based
Yeah.
kind of section. There's a dashboard. We can put whatever people want on the dashboard. This is my personal user. So if I'm an administrator, these are the kind of things that I'm going to be seeing. Within the admin section, and this is the section that probably they go in once or twice in a lifetime of the software just to set up things like staff.
Yeah.
So this is the HR side of things. We'll put all the people's staff in here, club staff in here. We've got access to record cards in here where we can hold contract detail, payroll information, where at different locations where people can work. We talked about the skills earlier on, so you might have
Yeah.
people that can work at different departments. The skills are in here as to what they can and what they can't do around the course. So there's a staff admin section there. Within staff, we can, like we talked earlier, we can apply skills. So this is where you can create new skills. Again, these are limitless. As part of skills, we can also create what's quite interesting is skill sets. So maybe to be a head greenkeeper, you may need a number of skills. So you've got your PA1, PA2, you might need a first aid certificate. This really helps when maybe we're rostering or just really keeping track of staff and knowing what's going on with the course. We can have holiday groups and lots of groups for all sorts of different things. We perhaps go through those another day.
Yeah.
We've got a location admin section where we can set up the course itself, and with underneath that, multiple locations. So we can have food and beverage, catering, golf services, greenkeepers, all of those, and then we assign staff to different locations. We've got a rota admin section. So for those courses, maybe where they're using people on certain hours, we can put in those shift patterns in there.
Okay.
So that allows us to do that. The other one that we very briefly spoke about before we came on air was the assets section. So we can put people's assets, and we just treat these like staff, but the assets again have a full sort of information section. You can put in the skills that we're talking about. So maybe this Toro needs sharpening once a year. We can put that in, and I'll show you if I go back to the home screen now. That's kind of covered most of the minor stuff within the back end in the admin section. As I said, once it's set up, it's set up and leave it. And then most of the other things are in the management section. So we can see it here. We've got some skills expiring. These maybe are for people, the ones I've set up at the moment, or we've obviously got some Toro, we've got some sharpening that needs doing. So that gives us a really great overview of when things are going to be looking to be done. We've got some absence requests in the system. So people have requested holiday via the mobile app as a manager or, whoever. I can go in here, see all my absence requests and approve them, as well as the availability that staff might still have. We've got a clocking screen. Now, this doesn't have to be used, but it's obviously quite useful if clubs want to go down the line, maybe of having a fingerprint reader or something like that. We can use those. You can do it directly from your mobile phone, so staff can clock in and out from their mobile phone. This gives us a great overview. If I maybe go back a couple of days where I was putting some information in last week. There we go. A little bit more information as to when people clocked in and clocked out, whether they were late. Are we going to deduct that information from them? The system's got a whole load of buffers in the background that we can say, do this automatically. So we were talking about automation earlier on. We can say if somebody's more than 15 minutes late, are we going to take that? Are we going to pay it? So we can do all that automatically in the system.
Okay.
That's the clocking screen. We can run multiple reports off there. The other screen, which is quite interesting to see, is the rota building. So this is where we're putting people on a roster or a schedule. I know everybody seems to call this section something different. It could be a work planner or whatever, but we can see this at a very top level. So for every location within the site, so you can see all the ones, these are ones where they've got little padlocks, means people have been signed in and signed out. But what we can do is also filter this down to a location. So we can say, well, just show me the greenkeepers, and that'll go away, just quickly regenerate the rotor. There's our greenkeepers. Okay. So we've got really, really quick and easy access for seeing which staff are available, who and when and where and what. So that's the rotor. We've got an admin message board. So if we need to get information out to our team, all of our staff very quickly, we can do that using push notifications via email, SMS, and we've got all those sorts of things built into the system. The other one, obviously, which is the one that we were talking about, which is the payroll. When we run payrolls, we can run different sets of different payroll periods for people. We can schedule a timesheet and it'll go away, process a timesheet. If I just change the date here to 0101, not 2024. If I could type dates, we'd be much better off. Okay, so a typical timesheet is going to probably look something like this one. So this gives us the contracted hours. So we can see at the bottom here, we've got a gentleman who's on 0 hours, although we're calculating how many he's worked, and we're also accruing, monitoring his accrual at the end. So we know instantly how much holiday pay to either give him or allow him. And this runs alongside and in duplication with people on normal contracted staff. So obviously normal contracted staff, I guess, are in the admin team, and maybe food and beverage might have people that are just on 0 hours. So that's all in there. We can export that to Excel, send it off to the accountant, and away we go. That's all really nice and easy to do. We have a reporting section where we can run reports. And again, we can do things like Bradford factor. If you need to send information out to shareholders or to the board, we can see what staff are working when, how many hours they've worked.
Sorry, can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
What's the Bradford factor?
So a Bradford factor is, or used to be used very intensively for monitoring people's movements. So you could say, and a typical example would be, is tell me as a percentage how long a certain person has had around a given event. So, you know, on a Tuesday, if Manchester United played on a Monday, how many people are having time off? That's what the Bradford factor does. So it
Okay.
kind of goes on
Yeah.
and monitors all sorts of different things. So the number of occurrences this person has had off in time as an absence against a scoring rating. It used to be used quite heavily. It's not so much used now because everybody likes to use their own custom reports.
Yeah.
But certainly anybody from a HR background will know instantly what the Bradford factor is.
Yeah.
So that's just so we've got that as standard. We do have over 80 standard reports built into the system. If I just quickly change my user type, there's not a report that we've probably never generated before.
Okay.
Whether clubs are interested in reporting, we can wait and see. As I said, we're predominantly working with people at the moment around the 0 hours,
Yeah.
contracting, scheduling staff, and getting the right people in the right place at the right time. And hopefully, with that really fast overview that I've just done, you can
Yeah.
see how that works. If I show you the self-service, let me just pop this into a mobile view.
Yeah.
There we go. Just wait for 2 seconds for that to clear
Yeah.
itself up. So this is kind of what it's going to look like on a mobile phone. Not easy to show on a PC, but you have all the same functionality. They can clock in, clock out, see their holidays, and this is what your staff would be seeing. So from a self-service point of view, they can see their absences. As a calendar view, they can go back and see when their next shift is. They can see their rota. Again, this is obviously great functionality that they can see where their shift is, who it's with, when it is, which location, and all those sorts of things. But the really interesting one for those people that use staff that give availability to work, i.e. the 0 hours, the staff can come in here and add their own availability. So they could say, I can only work every Saturday and Sunday and from now until the end of time, basically. And we can click that add. What that does is it puts an availability shift onto that rota that I showed you earlier.
Yeah.
So as soon as somebody from the events team needs to go and plan out an event, or just even greenkeepers, I suppose, is the knowing when their staff are going to be available. It's very easy to go to the rota, see whose staff is available, and pop them onto a shift. So as I said, that's really quite easy. And you can say you're not available maybe on a Friday, for the rest of the year. So it's really powerful, really fast and easy to use, and works really well. And as I said, that's probably one of the really nice sort of features that we've got within Nextra, is the self-service part of things and the way that people can add availability for that critical sort of events and hospitality side of the market, if you like.
Okay, Richard, thanks for that fly through of the software. One thing I've taken from that is it looks really powerful. It seems to do an awful lot for golf clubs, or for any business really, managing all of it. So it is extremely powerful. For our members to get in touch with you, we have the GCMA website. Your partner page is up there and live with all the contact details. But outside of that, how should our members get in touch with you to arrange a demo or even a free trial if that's something that you can offer our members?
So yeah, absolutely. They can obviously come via your pages, as you mentioned. Our website, the contact details are on there, whether it's WhatsApp, email, or just pick up the telephone and ring us. We're based in the UK, based in Hertford. Everything is in-house, so if you need to speak to us, then we'd love to do that. Ideally, we'd love to try and have some sort of discovery call with somebody. As you said, the system is very powerful. It's very wide, and it can do lots of things. And I do appreciate that maybe that's not for everybody. You might only want to use a small portion of it. So it'd be great to have a 10-minute chat with obviously managers, understand maybe the issues that they're facing within their business. If it is around time and attendance and 0 hours, let's have a conversation. We can do you a demo of how that works at the moment. And then as a takeaway, we're more than happy to run a 2-3 month trial for people. We'll give some training either on site or via Teams or Zoom, something like that. And then at the end of that trial, there's no obligation. If you find that it's going to change the way that you do things, and more often than not, it does. And then we can start to put some costing together, and look at obviously putting a finished solution in place for people.
That sounds fantastic and very comprehensive. So, Richard, we're going to wrap that up there. And thank you very much for introducing yourself and Nextra software to our membership. And we'll do some more of these videos where we delve a little deeper into the different aspects of the software over the next couple of months. So for today, thanks very much and welcome to the GCMA.
Thanks, Darren, and great. It's great to be on board. Thank you again.
Take care, everyone.